Hello guys, thank you for joining my channel. Today I've come back to review an extremely special deck that arrived yesterday, and it's a Kickstarter deck, and it's by Mr Friborg of Mr Friborg Arcantum, if you know Jens from Instagram at all. And this is his brand new deck, which, as I said, arrived yesterday. I originally backed this on the Kickstarter back in the summer, I think it was, and there was two editions to choose from, the standard and the vintage. Well, I chose the vintage one, which arrived yesterday, along with Jens put these other ones in as a gift, which I thought was completely sweet of him, so thank you very much, Jens. So I've basically got the two copies, and you can also add the expansion pack as an extra add-on as well, which is well worth doing if you are thinking of getting the deck. So I haven't opened the original ones yet. I just want to show you the vintage ones. So basically a bit of background to the deck first. Jens is an artist, and an incredible artist at that. And so he wanted to do his own kind of spin on the old Italian Sopraffino deck, and so there is a nod in here to the Sopraffino, the Tarot di Marseille, the Minchiati, and the Rider-Waite-Smith as well. So it's a very eclectic deck, but it works completely fine, and the artwork is beautiful as well. So you get an instruction book. The print is very, very small. It is for me anyway, because, you know, I need my glasses to see it. So it's fine probably for most people. So you've got a little introduction from Jens at the beginning, and each card is given a high and low polarity, which is obviously an upright and reverse reading, and then there's meanings, and he's stuck to the original system of coins, cups, swords, and staves as well. And so there's a little kind of introduction here. It says, Tarocchi by Mr. Friborg is a love letter to the old school tarot decks of a different era. Inspired by the classics, I have put together this little gem of a deck based on my favourite cards from a small selection of my preferred classical decks, and added a unique Friborg twist. The result is colourful and eclectic, yet cohesive. It aims to be modern and timeless at the same time. The cards in the major, as well as the court cards, are directly impacted by the classical tarot decks redrawn completely, yet altered only slightly with a few refreshing twists. My favourite decks that have served as inspiration are the Sopraffino, the Mitelli, the Minchiati from several regions, the Neoclassical, and the Itaya Tarot. The cards in the minor are more loosely inspired by these decks as well, and you will notice many nods to the Rider-Waite-Smith amongst other favourites. I hope you enjoy working with your new deck, Jens Friborg. And then you've got a Dear Reader there, and obviously, you know, he said the little guidebook shall serve you as a little reference book during your first readings, because we all know that there's plenty of tarot books out there now, along with more Marseille, you know, books being translated from French into English. So you can basically read this deck as you wish to. I will read it as a traditional Tarot de Marseille deck, because that is my first love. And I absolutely love a new version of the Tarot de Marseille style, so this was completely a very much of a me deck. So you get the meanings there, all like little tiny paragraph sentences, but you know, there's enough information in here to kind of get you started if you're a beginner. And obviously, if you're a seasoned reader, it's lovely to also see somebody else's take on their cards. Now, at the back of the book, you have got the Oracle card meanings. Now, if you haven't actually purchased this extra deck, the expansion pack, obviously it doesn't matter, but the cards are in actually Italian, but there's an English translation what Jens is put here as well, and they are absolutely wonderful, which I will show you shortly. So there it is. It's a 35-page little white book. It's lovely, matches the deck, and I love the way that Jens's illustrations. And on the back, the card box is a two-part. It was obviously a a tuck box, and it's embossed with little skulls all over it as well. And there's a seal on the back, which is embossed, and it's got published by Arcantum.com, first edition, first printing, Tarocchi by Mr Friborg is a classic 78 card deck consisting of 22 major arcana and 56 minor arcana. This is the vintage edition in the blue, and this is the normal edition in the pink, which I will open because this is on order and this one is not. But what I wanted to do was quickly briefly show you what the vintage edition looks like first. The backs are like a lovely shade of pink, and the cardstock is incredible. It's a matte cardstock, which I love, and it's also got like a slight linen finish to it as well. It's super flexible. It feels really high quality. It's not that rose petal cardstock that sticks together. This is going to be a deck where it'll wear in, breaking gently, and it'll be really super smooth over a period of time. So what Jens has done on the vintage edition, there's actually kind of like, they do look like kind of scratchy. The colours are lovely. I absolutely adore everything about the deck. And what Jens has done is, instead of putting people's faces, there are skeletons, and this is a nod to the Day of the Dead, the Memento Mori in the Italian Renaissance period. So it really works well. It's a different deck completely from any other kind of Tarot di Marseille or Soprafino deck you'll see available right now. And he has done an absolutely grand job with the cards, the artwork, everything is 10 out of 10 for me. I can't honestly find one fault with it whatsoever. Right, so I'm just going to briefly the vintage deck and the expansion pack. Obviously, it's got the virtues in it, it's got the seasons in it, and it's also got the star signs in it. So what you can do is you can either use these as an add-on when you do a reading to give you a little bit more depth to your reading, or you can intermingle them with your tarot deck, which I shall be doing. They are lovely, really lovely. I absolutely love the illustration style. It is the same as the tarot card deck, so it's not going to be like kind of like mismatching or anything, and the backs are exactly the same as well. So if you are treating yourself to the deck, I would definitely highly recommend the add-on expansion pack as well, because it does add an extra depth to your meanings. The only reason why I've kept it separately is because I can just completely, quickly flick through to see what kind of cards you are getting. So what I'll do, I'll just put these there to one side for a little bit, and then I will open, because they haven't been opened yet, they're still sealed. I will open these. Now what I did yesterday was, because the cards come in a tuck box, and sometimes these kind of stick and you don't really want to damage the edge of the tuck box. So the easiest solution to that was, what I did, and it works perfectly fine now, is just slide a knife under there and lift the flap up, which I did not with this one. I used a broader knife and lifted the flap up, and now it's fine. It closes and opens fine, because I didn't want to damage it. So I'll see if I can do it with this little knife as well. Yeah, it works fine with a knife, and you've kind of broke the seal, so you haven't got to do it again. And one thing I love is it's not, it doesn't come, obviously it comes in the outer shrink wrap to kind of protect the cards on the journey, to save them from damage. But what I do love is Jens has been a little bit more mindful, and he's not used any plastic packaging on the inside, because I know a lot of people think that's very important these days. So again, you get the same guidebook as well, and let me find the full out of the vintage deck, and you will be able to see the difference in the kind of vintage and the regular. So you'll have to just bear with while I kind of like look through the cards. These have been shuffled a fair few times as well, and if you are a riffle shuffler, they riffle absolutely beautifully. So let me see what I can do here. It's always the way, in it, when you're trying to find a card and you can't find it, it's probably the last one you'll find in the deck. There you go. So this is the major difference between the standard edition and the vintage edition. And so you can see, obviously I love both, but I do prefer the vintage. To me, it kind of gives the deck a little more of an authentic feel, because, you know, feel like they've been rubbed off over time. But there you go, there is the difference in the two. So, you know, you can choose which one you prefer, or obviously buy both. So we'll go through the cards now. The same, this is blue back, these are the pink backs, and obviously the expansion pack to the standard version matches this one with the same blue backs as well. So first of all, let me just take that off and we'll go through. So the titles are in Italian. You know, it doesn't matter because that's the way they were in the first place, and obviously the entities give a little translation in the book as well. I mean, look at the detail in the artwork, it's absolutely incredible. It's just completely gorgeous. You know, Jens is an incredibly talented person, and you know, you can tell that this shines through in his work, because I do have another deck to show you in a bit. So you can see you've got like your Papa, which is the priest, and you've got the lovers there. So you can see like it's all in order there. So you've got strength, Titan, justice. Sorry, strength, justice. Justice is 11, I think. Yeah, strength and justice. Yeah. So there you go. I love that as well. You can tell that Jens really knows his tarot, and especially his classical tarot, because this is based on Fortuna as well, and not the Rider-Waite-Smith Wheel of Fortune. And to me, like, the classical tarots are everything, because they're still always, after all this time, still have this element of mystery about them. Some of the older Marseille tarot decks I've got, you know, they are beautiful, and considering that the you know, the artisans at the time didn't have a lot to work with, they have stood the test of time, and I think they always will. This as well is such a classical looking deck, but it's also, as Jens says, got a modern take on it with the skulls on it, and it works incredibly well. You know, I noticed, like, in the Soprafino decks and the Minciati decks, less is definitely more. You can kind of like get the whole feel for the card just by looking at the imagery anyway, even without the titles on it. That is a beautiful world card. So it is a pip based deck, as you can see, but it's highly stylized, and it's just gorgeous. It really is. I love the way that Jens is like put this material scarf around the two. Oh, look, it's just, oh, this deck, Jens, whenever you watch this, it's just everything, honestly, it really is. Let's go on to the fives. This is the 5 of Pentacles, 5 of Coins, by the way. There's the 6, and you can see that there's like different variations. So that's the front and the back of the coin, I presume. And there is the 7 of Coins, and there we have the 8. And the colours that Jens has used, like these pastel colours and the muted tones, are absolutely beautiful. Oh, that pie's gorgeous. And there we have the Knight and the Queen, and of course the King. So now we're on to the cups, which are beautifully stylized as well. And there you can see the nod to the Rider-Waite-Smith with the lion and the caduceus symbol there. And the clouds surrounding that one cup, and the 3 at the bottom. So if you really wanted to use this as oh, my light, a Rider-Waite-Smith meanings, I suppose you could stamp, you know, use that. But like, I mean, you can do basically what you want with it. And this one as well is very Rider-Waite-Smith, the way Jens has put the different things in the cups. And there we have the moon from the Rider-Waite-Smith as well. It's just such a beautiful, workable deck. And for anybody who's kind of making the switch over from Rider-Waite-Smith to a Marseille-based system, this would be an absolutely incredible deck to use. And what I love about the Tarot de Marseille and these kind of decks is the directions, the way the figures are facing, which I think is really, really important. And Jens has got it absolutely spot on there. And so, you know, that one is just gorgeous. I love it so much. And there also as well a nod to the Rider-Waite-Smith, where you've got the figure lying down. Now, Jens did actually tell me what this meant earlier, and I've already forgot. So, sorry guys, you'll have to do your own research on that one. Just gorgeous. And there's the 8 of Swords. I'm honestly not surprised this deck is as good as it is, because I expected nothing less from Jens, to be honest. It's, you know, you'd think that like a mashup of different systems wouldn't be very cohesive, but this is totally cohesive. I mean, to me, this would be the perfect tarot deck, because there's nothing being missed, everything's been incorporated. And that is gorgeous. That reminds me of the Solar Busca Tarot as well. And it's just totally, totally beautiful. So we're on to the last one now, which is wands. And all the wands different, if you can see on there. There's nothing where you're left scratching your head thinking, what does, you know, what's that card? You know, you are with some tarot decks, you know, it's completely self-explanatory. And Jens has discreetly put the numbers on the cards as well, which I also love. You know, save you counting them up when there's no kind of like text or anything on the cards. So now we're on to the last cards of these. Gorgeous. That is incredible image. I just love the whole colorization that Jens has chosen for that one. So there we go. The Knight, Cavalier, and the Queen of Swords, and there we have the King of Swords, and then we're back to the Ace of Wands. So that is beautiful. I will actually show you this one as well, because obviously the vintage images are slightly different, and I'll just show you a comparison with the other two. Let me just get the box open on this one. Super simple to do. So we'll find the matching card in the vintage ones as well. There you go. So you can see the comparison again. So you've got the two there. So on the left you've got the vintage, on the right you've got the standard. And you can see on the standard as well, there's not any, I don't think there's any kind of like clarity been missed at the vintage, even though it's like very kind of antique looking. You know, I love both of them, honestly, I really do. But yeah, this one is a winner for me. So this is an incredible piece of work from our dear friend Jens, and I hope to see it used. Now I've just incorporated my expansion pack with the tarot deck, so it gives like a quite hefty kind of deck, but it's still very shuffleable. The cards are manageable. You can still overhand shuffle with them as well. So, you know, I will keep this as it is, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to order myself a beautiful tarot bag to kind of like complement this deck. See, have a look on Etsy or somewhere like that, which will complement the deck. So there you go. That is my reviews, well, walkthrough, sorry, of the Tarocchi by Mr Jens Friborg. And it's just stunning, stunningly beautiful. Now, Jens also sent me the new version of the Purgatorium Hex Oracle as well. I've got the first version, and it's such a special deck to me. The first version was on a linen cardstock. It come with a rosary and a velvet bag with a cross on the front, and it was just lovely, and it will always remain one of my top 10 decks of all time. This one, the second edition, has been kind of like updated with a new box, embossed with like a flame on it, which is gorgeous. I don't know whether you can probably see the embossed box, and the cardstock is the same as the newer versions of these decks as well, but everything has remained the same. But what Jens has done is he's actually put an index in the back of the book. So because I says we need an index in the book, so like, you know, he listened. So thank you for doing that for us all. And so this time you haven't got to be like going through the guidebook, but nothing's changed whatsoever. The cards are still as gorgeous as they were in the first place, and I think sometimes it's nice to kind of like leave things as they were, if you're going to do a second printing, and just like either, you know, change the cardstock, which Jens has done, but this is lovely, and it'll always be one of my favorite decks. So for those of you, this is obviously, none of the decks are edged, by the way. You can do them yourself if you want to. I actually edged my first version in a black Sharpie, which I'll probably do with this one as well. So I'm looking forward to using the, I'm not going to use this. I'm going to keep this for a backup copy, in case anything happens to my original. So I'm going to store this in a special place on my shelf, and carry on using the first version. But you can get all of Jens's work, which I'll link down below in the description box. This has been an absolute pleasure to show you all these today. You know, when something special comes along, you really do want to show it off, and, you know, you really want to, you know, give the creator top marks. And this deck excels everything I have seen for a long time. So thank you for watching. I'm sorry I've been a bit kind of behind answering comments, but I've had things going on, and you know, I've been kind of busy. But hopefully in the new year I will be back as I was before. I'm going to review a deck tomorrow that I've been using now for nearly a week, and it's absolutely stunning. But I've got some free time, so that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going to come back on and have a chat, and yeah, so I hope you're okay. Sending you all love, and yeah, that's about it for today. So thank you for watching. I love doing this, especially when it's a deck as incredibly special as this one. So have a lovely day, evening, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you all soon. Sending you love always, and thank you for watching.